Why is the Midas Hadin called Yitzchak? Yitzchak means laughter. Does anybody amongst us find suffering funny? I personally don't find it funny. And yet we know that Yitzchak, Tova Yisurin, Yitzchak found himself in a predicament where he looked up to Shemayim and he said, Rebbeinu Shel Olam, punish us. And somehow, according to reality, that's funny. At kedei kach, that when he was born, Torah says, Kol hashomei yitzchak li. Everybody who hears about this one is going to laugh. How's that comprehensible? And so, when we look at the nature of suffering, what is suffering? Suffering is a realization that our nature has been violated. In some way, shape, or form, our thoughts, our feelings, our actions somehow violated our nature. That's why we're suffering. There's no other reason to suffer. The body knows how to keep itself perfectly healthy without you. When you're sleeping, the least amount of damage is done. The opposite is true. You go to sleep worn out, and you wake up refreshed. Your body knows what it needs to do. It can take care of itself. But being with you for 16 hours wears him out. And that's the nature of suffering. And so, we need to understand, how did we come to be in such a condition that we cannot take care of ourselves so that we don't suffer? How could it be that we must spend all of our time distracted with other things, and we can't even focus on knowing who we are and how we work so we can avoid suffering? And not only our own suffering, how much suffering do we produce to others? It's not just an import business, it has an export component also. Each one of us has caused an indescribable amount of suffering to human beings. I can say that without even knowing who you are. It's not a bet, it's a certainty. And this should cause us to lose sleep. If we don't know how to avoid hurting other people, we shouldn't be sleeping. We should be studying. And this is what it means when it says, the Talmud Torah is keneged kulam. And this is what it means when it says, Ki em chayenu v'orech yameinu. Because it indeed is our physical and spiritual reality that we are discussing. This is everything we are. This is not something outside of us that resides in a bank account. This is real life. This is our eternity. This is who we're going to be forever. What we did here, that's who we're going to be forever. What we caused other people to feel, what we caused ourselves to feel, that's what we're going to be for eternity. It's a big deal. And therefore, at some point, when the Chachamim, those who understood humanity, those who understood what's really going on, realized that the masses are not ready to understand life, they decided to make it worse. Why are they going to make it worse? Because maybe then somebody will wake up. Maybe then people will realize that life and how it feels is up to us. We're creating it. He created us, and we create the experience for each other. So if we're looking for the source of suffering, don't look to God. Look to the people. The people cause suffering. God doesn't cause suffering. God created perfect machines, and we each live in one of them. And while we live in them, we cause damage to other people on a daily basis. Because we don't understand what's important in life. We've forgotten who we are. We've forgotten what's real. We went on a little trip about a career, about a this and about a that, and we forgot that in the meantime, life is taking place. You can't pause life. Life happens to you, whether you're paying attention or not. And it's extremely real. It's more real than anything you've ever imagined. And so, the Midas HaGvura, the suffering of the Galus, it was intentional. We've been placed in this situation because we were stupid. Because of sinas chinam. Because people hated each other. Instead of making each other a nice life, they ripped into each other. They pushed each other down. They got their dopamine when somebody else felt hurt. When they beat the competition. When they could stand over other people instead of together with them. And this is us. This is not God. God was the one that gave us perfection. We're the ones that messed it up. And so the name Yitzchak means that the reason it hurts is to make it better. Oz Yimole Yitzchak Pinu. When we'll understand what they did to us and why they did it to us, we will laugh. But while we're suffering, we're not laughing. But while we're suffering, we're losing our chance to live. We're losing our chance to be. It's going to be all for naught. We just came down here to suffer, and then we went home to find out we did nothing. And so this is what the Torah wants to teach us. This is what the Midas HaGvura is here for in the first place. Life causes you to suffer when you violate nature. Life itself. Call it God. Call it whatever you want. The reality will punish you if you don't know how to behave. And so because people were so far from realizing that truth, we had to dress it up in words in order to drill it into people's minds. So people can wake up and recognize that there's something wrong with what's happening here. We're not doing it right. It hurts too much. There's a reason why people can't survive the day without all kinds of different help. There's a reason why psychologists and psychiatrists are busy all day and they can't even help the people that need help. They don't even have an answer for them. It's because we've forgotten who we are. We've forgotten the type of species that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created us to be. And we've put on a suit and tie and pretended to be something else. And there's no bigger violation of your nature than that. Forgetting who you are is the first step to losing all of it, to forgetting every single detail of what it means to be you. And then you can go search for yourself, piece by piece. How are you going to know what's real and what's not real? How are you going to know what you're imagining anymore? If you're not your authentic self, how difficult is it to put yourself together again? And so, using language, the wise in the ancient world understood enough about man to know exactly how to set every setting, every belief, how it correlates to the nervous system, every action, every thought, how it affects the body, how it affects the mind, how it affects the spirit. These people studied nothing else all their lives. These were the wisest people in the world. This was all they were busy with. And not only them, but even the Goyim had schools to study these things. Nobody was as stupid as today to just leave that to chance. How stupid can we be? This is who we are. This is the most important part of life. Why are we even doing this? This is the part that we're going to forget. This is the part that doesn't need our attention. And so, when we will see what it really means to be us, we will laugh. When we will see the kind of freedom that's inherent in our condition, we will laugh. But as long as we're suffering, we're not laughing. As long as we're suffering, it's because we don't understand who we are yet. We're in a far and distant place. We're in gullus in our own homes, in our own bodies. And this is why from Yitzchak come out Yakov and Esav. Yakov and Esav represent two different reactions to suffering. Esav, when he suffers, he becomes violent. Yadayim Yadai Esav, he gives out his aggression on others. Yakov, when he suffers, he cries. Akol kol Yakov. He goes back to himself. He looks within himself. Where did I go wrong? What have I forgotten? Where am I? Who is saying what? To who? And why? And as soon as we take things apart, we realize these are just habits. These are just old tapes running over and over and over and over again. They're not useful to us. We have to change how we think. We have to change how we relate to life. This is a gift. This is a gift that's worth more than $10 billion. If somebody came today and gave you a check for $10 billion, would you feel a little grateful? Existence is worth more than $10 billion. In fact, the richest people in the world, if they wouldn't have gotten existence, they wouldn't have been rich, would they? And so in order to receive this gift, humanity has been going through suffering to realize what it means to be here, to realize the importance of this experience, to realize how much power HaKadosh Baruch Hu put in our hands and in our mouth and in our brain to create realities out of nowhere. We're creating them, nobody else. We're collecting data from all kinds of shaky sources, and then we come to conclusions. And then we create realities. Some of them hurt people. Some of them hurt ourselves. We made them up, nobody else. So what if we heard it from someone? We're still making it up. It's still our brain. We can decide what we make up. And so we have to take responsibility of our spiritual reality, of our experience, of the experience we cause other people to have, because this is life. From there goes everything. That's where energy gets created, to animate the body. If we don't supply energy, the body doesn't want to move. How many people today are suffering from depression? Halfway depressed, 3/4 depressed, can't get out of bed depressed. Why do we think that is? Because we're doing it wrong. We're telling them the wrong words. We're pushing buttons in their machine that's causing them to suffer. We must take responsibility for who we are. Reality is before everything. And unfortunately, it has to be said, it's even before money. Money means nothing compared to reality. Money is how the monkey splits the tooth, because he's not friendly enough with each other to know how to eat properly. So we found out a way where we can still hate each other and we'll still find out who gets the food. Money. So we can all run and run and run our whole life and never figure out what the hell we're doing in the first place. And the word hell is very appropriate, because this is exactly what hell is. Hell is living life and not knowing what it means. Because besides the suffering, we're losing this tremendous opportunity. This is a meaningful experience that we're not having. And so, that's what David HaMelech tells us. B'shuv Hashem yeshivas Tzion, hayine kocholmim. We're going to wake up like from a dream. We're going to recognize we were dreaming, we were hallucinating. We were perpetuating a collective hallucination on what it means to be here. And it's so unnatural that it became extremely painful. And we keep confirming with each other what the illusion is, instead of looking inside at what God created. Oz yimol etzchok pinu. When we'll wake up from the dream, then we'll laugh. Then it'll all be funny. Then we'll understand what fools they made of us. And what stupidity we believed. We won't believe ourselves. Really, a human being can be this low? Just tell him anything and he takes it? That's how gullible we are? Well, if we're gullible, the pasuk says, whoever is gullible, come to the Torah. The Torah will teach you a lesson of how careful you have to be with what you believe, what it means to believe, what deep impact that's going to have on your life and on your afterlife. What you believe is everything. It's the source of your entire experience. And so we'll laugh at ourselves. Well, what does the Torah call a pesi? Mi pesi yoser heina? Chasar lev amreloi. Who is a petty? Who can believe everything? Somebody is missing a heart. As long as you're missing a heart, you can believe everything. But once your heart wakes up, once you feel for reality, then you won't believe everything anymore. You're going to be very selective about what you believe. Because your heart won't let you believe certain things. You won't be able to live with it. And then you'll understand. And so this is a message that's coming from the beginning of our religion. Avram Avinu was the founder of our religion. And he was one shtik chesed. All he wanted to do is kindness to humanity. But then he quickly realized that if you just do kindness to humanity, you get a yishmol. You get people who do bad things because they're kind to themselves. They don't really realize what they're dealing with. And so, in order for the kindness to kick in, we needed a Yitzchak. Our stupidity needed to be laughed at. And in order for us to get the joke, we have to suffer in order to understand how real it is. Because in the direction that we've caused suffering, we can cause 1,000,000 times more pleasure. Because what we're doing is unnatural. And still it's working to make everybody feel sluggish. But if we do in accordance with nature, all of nature is going to be different. The whole world is going to look different. The fruits are going to be different. The people are going to be different. Because we've been starving our spirit from energy for a very long time. And this causes that we don't develop properly, that we don't feel properly, we don't know. And this is why in the ancient world they have these monuments that nobody today would even know how to start planning them. Forget about committing the energy and the time that it takes to build something like that. People today have the attention span of a mouse. And this is because our nature has been attacked. We're under attack. The Torah is not being dramatic. This is a reality. We're under attack. And we're suffering. We're not doing so good. We're not on the winning side. So we can just roll through it and find ourselves on the other side and figure out what the hell just happened. Or we can try to wake up. We can try to become who our Creator wanted us to be. It's within us. These are the ingredients. There's a reason our body looks the way that it does, and it acts the way that it does, and it speaks the way that it does. There's a logic to all of this if we'll only start paying attention. And there's thousands of books to help us along. We have to start paying attention to how this world works, because we happen to live here. And so HaKadosh Baruch Hu should give us all an open heart and a wise mind and an inspired soul, so that we can find our way, so that we can be the way that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to be. And as soon as that happens, Mashiach will be here. May it happen soon.